This is a problem that people get into all the time because they're used to their shell. Imagine if I ran a command called like fake command, right? This command doesn't exist. Bash command not found. We have a return code of 127. What if I run a command that does exist but fails? Actually, let's do an easier one. ls fake directory. That didn't exist. That failed. There's something really important about these exit codes that you should know about. And I will tell you, a lot of people don't have this knowledge. And it can be, you're going to be fine in life without this knowledge, but like it can cause trip ups. So if you're writing Rust, for instance, and you go to execute a command, it might fail creating the command. And then beyond that, the command itself may have failed. And it's important to have that distinction. So in this example up here, this failed to exec. The actual exec syscall failed because this program doesn't exist. In this example here, exec worked. We forked an exec ls just fine. We were able to create the command, but the command failed. So the command ran and then it returned 1. In this example, fake command didn't return 127. Fake command doesn't exist to return anything. Bash gave us 127. There's another thing. If you kill a process that's running with bash, you might notice that it'll have a weird exit code. And it's typically 127 plus the signal. So 127 plus 15, whatever that number is. That's what happens when you send a sig term to a process or you kill it with the default signal. So that process was running, you killed it, and now it returned with that exit code. Here's something interesting. Your shell, bash, always gives you an exit code. But if you are running in a high-level language, you may or may not have an exit code. You don't have those 8 bits that tell you if the process exited. You will have a larger number. It's like 32 bits or 64 bits. I don't remember. You will have a larger number that tells you more accounting information about the process. And this will tell you things like if it died from a signal, things like that. So if I were to, let's say the process got like a sig v and it didn't handle that, like it tried to access memory it doesn't own or something like that, your shell will tell you that it has an exit code, but it's not an exit code, that's a return code. Your shell gave you that code. In fact, if I were to write a program that just returned 127, from bash point of view, you wouldn't be able to tell if my program exists and returns 127 or that program doesn't exist. So that's something important to keep in mind. If you're in a higher level language, like if you're writing C or something, exec can fail if there was some failure to exec the program. File didn't exist, we couldn't allocate memory, the file exists but doesn't have the executable permission, things like that. You can catch those errors. But with your shell, you're just going to have a return code. Normally it doesn't matter. You just want to catch if there's an error or not. Typically that's the case, but just something to keep in mind. Because I've seen people get confused when they go into Rust and they're like, so command returned a result, but then when I get the actual exit code, I have to check if that was a success or not. It's like, yeah, you do. That's correct. Because the command may have failed to execute or it may have failed during execution. Those are 2 different states. The shell conflates those states. Often super convenient that it does. I don't really have any qualms with that. But yeah, something to keep in mind.